It was the last Soviet design of strategic bomber, being the largest and heaviest supersonic combat aircraft in the world. The Tupolev Tu-160 entered service in 1987 and continues to be active in the Russian Air Force. The Russians call it Veli Levich or White Swan in Spanish for its smooth lines and the striking anti-flash white color to reflect the electromagnetic waves of a possible nuclear explosion. But one of its most distinctive features are its large variable geometry wings. It has 44 world records to its credit and is considered the most powerful heavy bomber in the world, as it can carry up to 40 tons of weaponry with the potential to be used until the year 2040. Welcome to a new video, this is Aeropedia. The history of this aircraft begins with the Soviet response to an American design of a supersonic bomber capable of exceeding Mach 3, the XB-70 Valkyrie, but in the end this only remained in the prototype phase. In '67, the requirements for a similar plane were requested, but it was concluded that this type of plane would be too specialized, expensive and difficult to produce, so the requirements were reduced. 5 years later, the Soviet Union prepared a new competition to design a tactical bomber with a maximum speed of Mach 2.3. Tupolev presented the proposal as the 160-1000 aircraft, incorporating several concepts from the company's supersonic passenger transport, the Tu-144. And this competed with two other supersonic aircraft designs, the Sukhoi T-4 and the M-18 from Myasishchev. Tupolev's experience made him win the contest, but with the characteristic that he followed a basic design from Myasishchev with variable geometry wings. The first prototype flew for the first time on December 18, 1981, and mass production began in '84. It was planned to reach a total of 100 units, although only 35 were finally manufactured, including the 3 prototypes and several pre-series aircraft. The second prototype was destroyed in a test flight in '87, although the crew successfully ejected. The Tu-160 appeared to the public in a parade in 1989, and in just over a year, it achieved 44 world speed and range records in its category. For example, having flown 1,000 kilometers with 30 tons of payload at an average speed of 1,720 kilometers per hour. In 1994, production was halted due to lack of funds following the crisis of the breakup of the Soviet Union. Until '91, 19 planes served in the 184th Heavy Bomber Regiment in Ukraine, replacing the Tu-16 bombers. After the Soviet Union dissolved, Ukraine inherited these planes. Although in 1999 an agreement between Ukraine and Russia resulted in 8 of these planes returning to Russia to reduce Ukraine's energy debts with the latter country. By giving up its nuclear arsenal, Ukraine destroyed the remaining 260, except for one that remained on display in that country. The second Russian unit, the 121 Regiment, was created in 1992 but only received 6 Russian devices. The 121 Regiment was created in 1992 but only received 6 devices. And then, in '99, the 8 from Ukraine. Some more were delivered in 2000 after resuming construction. In November of 2005, there were 14 Tu-160 bombers in service, and currently there are supposed to be another 4 of a new version called Tu-100. 60 million units have been added based on 2022 data, but the current total may be higher. It is a 4-engine design with variable geometry wings. It has a maximum takeoff weight of 275 tons and a range of 12,300 kilometers without in-flight refueling. Its maximum speed is 2.220 kilometers per hour or Mach 2.05, and it has 2 internal compartments to carry up to 40,000 kilograms of armament. It has variable geometry wings with angles between 20 and 65 degrees. It has a fly-by-wire system piloted by a joystick-type control stick like that of a conventional fighter plane. It is powered by 4 large Samara NK32 afterburning turbofan engines. The most powerful engine fitted in a supersonic fighter plane. There is an upgraded version equipped with an air refueling system installed over the front radar cone, still possessing a large internal fuel capacity, up to 130 tons of fuel. This provides a flight autonomy of around 15 hours or over 8,000 kilometers of range, but without carrying any load. It is equipped with a large OPSORDK attack radar plus a TFRS-OPCA ground profile radar. This provides the necessary information for automatic low-level flight and deep penetration attack missions. Under the cockpit, it has an electro-optical sight for dropping conventional freefall bombs or laser-guided bombs and obtaining infrared images. It can also launch tactical missiles with nuclear warheads, conventional warheads, anti-ship naval missiles, and long-range cruise missiles. The weapons are carried in 2 internal cargo bays installed in tandem, one in front of the other. Under the central fuselage of the aircraft, between the engines, each capable of holding 20 tons of weapons. The Tu-160 crew consists of 4 people, a pilot, a co-pilot, sitting together side by side. In front in the cockpit, in ejection seats that can be adjusted in height and position. They are also accompanied by a weapons officer and a radar operator. Further back from them, there is a rest area behind the cockpit, a toilet, a kitchen, and a refrigerator. In case of very long flights, the aircraft is usually escorted by the long-range heavy fighters MiG-31, August 17, 2007. The Russian President Vladimir Putin had announced the resumption of strategic aviation flights. Stopped in 91, September 14, 2007. British and Norwegian fighters intercepted 2 Tupolev 160 in international airspace near the United Kingdom and Finland while patrolling the North Atlantic. On June 10, 2012, 2 Tupolev 160 carried out a record patrol of 23 hours with a planned flight range of 18,000 kilometers or 9,700 nautical miles. Having flown along the borders of Russia and over neutral waters in the Arctic and Pacific Oceans. In August 2011, Russian media claimed that only 4 of the 16 Tu-160 were fit for. In 2013-11 were observed in flight despite earlier doubts. It seems that Russia has decided to resume production with the Tu-160-1000 variant, as we had already said, and 10 units are expected to be delivered before 2027. According to Tupolev's official page, 36 planes were produced by 2000, but the Russian Air Force states it has 16 units in service. On February 2, 2020, the modernized Tu-160 conducted its test flight at the Kazan Assault Plant Airport, which is named after Gorbunov. Deliveries began later that year, where 5 planes were equipped with new, more powerful engines. Vladimir Putin stated that 4 to 1 mile were delivered in 2023. The Tu-160's combat debut was on November 17, 2015, as part of the Russian military intervention in the Syrian civil war, where several strategic bombers, Tu-160 and Tu-95 missile, carried out airstrikes in the provinces of Idlib and Aleppo using psionic cruise missiles, K-101. In total, between 34 and 83 of these missiles were fired, destroying 14 targets. He was also involved in the Russian invasion of Ukraine in 2022 and, according to Ukrainian sources, on March 6th of this year. A Tu-160, along with a strategic bomber Tu-95 missile, launched 8 cruise missiles, presumably the KH-101S, at the Yabryshivka-Vinnytsia International Airport from an area of the Black Sea. I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Marcos and this is the Aeropedia of Aviation World.